Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman, and joining me today, a brand new rock star. She is the chief caffeinator at Logo Jojo, or as she was told recently, she should be called the Queen of Bean. Ellie Bathe, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Kirby.
Yeah, thank you so
How
much.
How the Kashakton are you? In the words of Bill Petrie, I've been dying to say that. How the Kashakton are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great, and it's always good to talk to you. So thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm honored, honestly. I'm
This
not
is
worthy.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So I want to jump in with you. One of the things I know about you is you know, in our business, for those who are not in the industry, obviously you've got your supplier side, you got your distributors, suppliers sell to distributors, and the distributors sell to end users. You were on the distributor side for many years, and then you started your supplier company. So I'm kind of curious about what kinds of lessons do you think that you learned on the distributor side of the business that kind of serves you in your new company?
You know, if I can kind of switch that around
Yeah.
and tell what I've learned as a supplier that I wish I would have known as a distributor.
Sure.
So I was a distributor. I had a partner. I sold my business when COVID hit and started Logo Jojo. My son owns Folly Coffee, which is a local coffee roaster. And I really felt like there was a market for high-end specialty coffee in our industry.
Okay.
But I didn't know what I was doing at all. So I would say that what I've learned as a supplier that I wish I would have known as a distributor is that there is this supportive industry out there that I never ever tapped into. I didn't know anything about any of the I'd heard of Promo Kitchen, I'd heard of Promo Cares. You know, I was kind of present on social media. We belong to the local regional UMAP. You know, we would every year go to PPAI Expo, but after a while, we even stopped going to the education.
Right.
And then when I sold and started Logo Jojo, I just knew what I didn't know.
Right.
And I knew that I needed to talk to everyone that I know in the industry and develop some relationships and figure this thing out. And I mean, I would pick up the phone and call anybody and everyone would talk to me, you know, and I mean, you did, remember? I mean, it was like, I was just picking your brain on, you know, how do I do this? And Charity Gibson, you know, she didn't know me from Adam, and she talked to me for like 45 minutes, gave me like the best advice and like really great tactical stuff that I could hang up the phone and dive into. And you know, in Common Skew, I got involved with them. And I mean, every piece of education that I could be a part of, you know, any virtual trainings, I did all of that.
Right.
And so that's what I wish I would have known as a distributor, that, you know, even on Facebook now, even though like some of those groups can be kind of snarky, I mean, there's people helping people. I mean, you know, it's that, you know, everybody does better when everybody does better. So that's what I really wish I would have realized as a distributor. We just kept our nose to the ground, paid really good attention to our clients, didn't do any social media at all. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is an opportunity that I never, you know, saw that was available, that I've really tapped into.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ellie, I think that's incredible advice. Number one, there's just power in humility, right? Like you said, I didn't know what I didn't know, and so I was willing to ask anybody about it. I think that's great advice. And then the other thing, and I've been talking a lot about this, is that the industry really has changed in the sense that for a long time, everybody was sort of siloed, and we were afraid we were going to steal each other's customers and something like that. And I just don't run into that. I think that people are much more willing to be generous than we have historically given them credit for. So it's exciting to hear that you've run into that from my perspective.
Well, and then the other thing that I've gotten to know you better through too is the Ripple Collective mastermind groups. I'm in two of those. And I mean, some of the conversations are really candid. And I mean, I've learned more. And, you know, I'm probably the only baby boomer in those groups. Well, I take that back. Ronnie Wright is in a group with me. And so, you know, we pride ourselves for being that hashtag over 60 thing. But yeah, so it's, you know, people are very willing to share their experiences and help each other. And, you know, I wish I would have taken advantage of that when I was a distributor.
No, that's good stuff. That's good
And
stuff. So
podcasts. I listen to every single podcast I possibly can. In fact, I had a post on Instagram one day of a picture of my dash. Of
yeah.
course, I was at a stoplight. I wasn't driving, the caption was how to tell when you're in promo when you without saying you're in promo.
Right.
And my top, every single 5 of the podcasts that were on my queue were all promo, and
I
one of
love
them
it.
was yours.
Well, thanks. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because you mentioned it. Like, it seems like you're using social media to promote your business, but also you're having some fun with it. And I love that. So, is that a conscious decision that you made, or are you just kind of doing what comes naturally to you?
Well, as I said, my son owns Folly Coffee. And so that's how he's my vendor for the coffee. I don't
Right.
work directly with him. I work mostly with his head roaster. But he is really, really good at marketing.
Mm.
And I have always followed him on social media, even when I really didn't participate very much. And I
Right.
don't know, he has like 14,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. And he's a crazy man. And I mean, he thinks out of all sides of his brain. He was doing TikTok videos at the very beginning when everybody thought it was like a dance craze for teenagers,
Right.
And so he hasn't sat down and trained me or given me advice, but I've kind of watched him and his brand. And I thought, well, I really need to kind of brand myself the way that Folly is branding, because I'm selling his coffee, so
Okay.
he does crazy dances and crazy, I don't know how to do some of the editing he does. He has conversations with himself with split screen with Minnesota accents going back and forth. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's funny, but he has enough content too that sort of like makes you really want to drink that coffee, because it's roasted to order, and it's small batch, and it's specialty high-end coffee. So really, I have had fun with it because I've watched him and I've tried to, and I involve him sometimes,
Right.
but I kind of try to mimic what he does. And after a while, I gave up being worried about being embarrassed.
Right.
Because at the beginning, I was kind of like, oh, like I'll post pictures of a pouch of coffee with a, whatever. And then after a while, it's like once I figured out how to edit TikTok videos, I just was like, okay. And I'm such a loser. I sit in here in my office by myself. This is not a virtual. That's my product line right there. I sit there with my camera, and no one can see in my windows, but if they walk by, that oh my God, this woman is like got some problem. But
Well,
I just do fun and whatever.
no, I love it. And hey, mimicking or sort of learning from people that you admire, or you like their content, is always great advice. And being willing to put yourself out there and having the courage to do it is powerful. So, I'm curious, because obviously, you and I have talked offline. You are what would consider a fairly small supplier, right? And in our industry, like most industries, you've got your
smallest you can get.
You got a small supplier, and then you've got the big giant supplier. So how can small suppliers stand out to compete in this world where there's just, such a differentiation in size?
Well, I mean, one thing Charity told me when I talked to her almost probably 2 years ago is she said, you have to get on social.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it sounds trite, but that is where I've established most of my relationships, is through social. I mean,
Sure.
Instagram, I mean, every time I turn around, it's interactive. It's not
Sure.
just post it and let it
Right.
go.
Right.
I mean, I see who's liking my posts, and I contact them directly and say, hey, I see that you've liked some of my posts. Can we do a Zoom, or can I send you samples? Or, I mean, and people or lifestyle images, I do that to make people's lives easier. If they're the ones posting for their distributorship, they're
Right.
going to want some lifestyle photos. Everybody's craving, content. So, I mean, that's very simply, and I've curated a really nice email list too. That's
Yeah.
my open rate on my email blast. I do maybe one every couple months. I mean, it's like 60% or something.
Wow. That's unheard of.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's just people that, I've asked them if I could put
Right.
them on the list, and it's people that I know would be possible, distributors that would sell high-end coffee.
Yeah. I love it. Being social and then thinking about it from the perspective of the end user, the customer, like that is powerful. And so it doesn't surprise me because you were recently named to the online 18 and influencer list in the promotional product space. So congrats, first of all. That's exciting
Well, you've been on it for how many years? I mean, I'm in the company of like icons. I could not even believe it. I couldn't believe it,
So what is it? I mean, obviously you and I, again, have had this conversation offline, but I'm curious to know, I mean, like, what do you think that means to you and your business to be sort of named on a list like that?
Well, I guess that's two separate questions.
Okay.
What it means to me and what it means to my business.
Yeah.
So I'm a pretty competitive person, whatever, but I've never really gotten recognized for much professionally, and my brother was state golf champion when I was in high school. And we sat at the dinner table and I listened to him every hole he ever played in every tournament. And his bedroom was filled with trophies and stuff.
Right.
And I couldn't compete with that, and I think I got second place in high jump in 6th grade and I got a certificate or something.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me personally, I was like, oh, this is like recognition, which is, part of what our industry is based on. So me personally, I was like, and plus I'm a baby boomer, I'm the only baby boomer on that list from what I can tell. And so the fact that I kind of figured it out, and have a presence to the extent where I got on that list was pretty amazing. But the cool thing, and the reason I do all this social stuff, which is the same reason most people do it, is I wanted to be visible. I'm a small supplier. I felt invisible when I first started this, and this was a way for me to become visible. And when Dale Denham, when he had the little blurb about Logo Jojo, he said something like, if you engage with Ellie on social, then she's going to be the one you think of when you think of coffee in our industry. And I mean, I was like, that is what I've been trying to do, And so now that needs to translate into people ordering coffee. It's like one thing to get a lot of likes and to get on this list, but I mean, even since I got on that list, I've gotten a lot of more inquiries about orders and things like that. So
yeah, that's super cool to hear. Dale, just as a quick shout out, Dale does an incredible job of curating that list and kind of being sort of in the know on people who are creating value around the industry. So being on that list is high praise, and so kudos.
I mean, and my millennial children were kind of like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Because my daughter actually works for a digital media agency. And, she just rolls her eyes, and so, but Rob, he was pretty excited because he's a big believer in it. And to see his mom on there was, I mean, he wants to have me sell more coffee for him, right?
That's right. He's a businessman. He knows. That's good. Yeah. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been fun, and we will definitely have to do it again sometime. Where can they someone find you online? Like the Logo Jojo, what's the website there?
It's logojojo.net. And then on social, on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Logo Jojo Craft Coffee.
Love it.
So, and you should follow, anybody listening should follow Folly Coffee too, because he's a kick. It's just at Folly Coffee on all the different platforms. So
I love it. Well, cool.
And thank you for this honor. I'm telling you, like I said, I felt invisible a couple of years ago when I started this, and now I've got Kirby Hassman interviewing me.
You're silly. That's super fun. But I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Kirby.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.